it's ready for the Buckingham Palace, and you're watching Studio Q. There you go.
Another episode of Studio Q. I'm Sharie Ross.
And I'm Abbey. We've got a great show lined up for you this week, including an exclusive look at Herstmonceux, Queen's new castle in England.
We've also got stories on Brad Elberg, Vicky Keith, and much, much more.
And of course, the moment we've all been waiting for, the draw for the free Granada TV rental.
But first, as you may or may not know, Queen's is a member of OUSA, Ontario Undergraduate Students Association. This week, U of T suspended its membership from this organisation, and Studio Q got some feedback on how this might affect the upcoming referendum.
Their reason to suspend their membership had nothing to do with ideological reasons or disagreements with OUSA's mandate. It was simply for a few small changes to make sure that they were better represented. And our track record is clear. We've been very successful in the past, and we've been serving Queen students very well. And I think it shouldn't affect OUSA at all as an organization, nor should it affect the upcoming referendum.
The ASA's Assembly meeting Tuesday night held a heated discussion about the future of Surface magazine. A referendum for arts and science students will be held in 2 weeks to decide the future of the paper. At issue was whether or not ASA should put its support behind the yes side of the campaign.
We shouldn't be telling our own students how to vote just by the nature of our own elitism.
I'd also like to tell the students that I personally support this paper and that this body that has supported the paper for the past several years continues to do so.
The motion was eventually passed, but the issue is far from resolved. The referendum is not binding. If the no side wins the referendum, the second vote will have to be held. ASIS will call a General Assembly meeting like this one held last March, where all arts and science students were given the chance to decide the fate of Surface. Kingston police are still looking for a male suspect involved in a sexual assault that took place on William Street on September 9th. The suspect is described as being 25 to 35 years old, 6 foot, 195 pounds, with a dark complexion and an athletic build. He has a round face, wide-set eyes, and a dark growth of beard. If you have any information, please contact Kingston Police at 549-4660 or Crime Stoppers at 634-TIPS.
Still to come on Studio Q, Herstmonceux Castle. You've read about it. Now see what everyone is talking about. An exclusive tour only on Studio Q. Queen's Speakers Committee is up and running again this year. And this past Monday night, marathon swimmers Vicky Keith and Carlos Costa visited Queen's campus. Zainul Rajan has more.
Lake Ontario. We see it every day. We even venture into it at times. But how many of you would think of swimming it? And better yet, how many of you would think about swimming it if you didn't have the use of both legs? This dream became a reality for Carlos Costa last summer when he became not only the first disabled swimmer, but also the youngest male to cross the lake at the age of 21. His coach, Vicky Keith, is a veteran of marathon swimming who has the English Channel, all 5 Great Lakes, and numerous other achievements under her belt. Both Vicky and Carlos visited Queen's to speak last Monday.
But I always wanted to do something that, you know, other people could say, wow, that was a really great thing that he did. And I just wanted to do something that would inspire other people because I wanted to kind of set an example. And
During the first 2 attempts of his swim, Carlos was forced to quit due to heavy winds, yet he managed to start over and prove himself to those who didn't believe in him.
The media no longer were calling him Carlos Costa disabled swimmer or Carlos Costa marathon swimmer. It made everything seem worthwhile.
The turnout at Dunning Auditorium was much less than expected, so the AMS Speakers Committee moved the presentation to a small classroom. Roughly only 5 people other than those at the committee turned out for the event. Those who were there, however, found the presentation quite inspiring.
I have been working as well at camp for disabled children for 4 years, and I was just really interested in what Carlos had to say. I thought it was really cool.
The lack of interest for this event is unfortunate, especially when a portion of all our fees goes towards funding these speakers. Chairperson of the Speakers Committee, Carrie Knorr, was unavailable for comment as to the exact cost of the event. There is some argument, however, that the event was under-publicized.
I would have gone, but it was so long ago that I didn't associate the names. So if I had seen the signs and it had said marathon swimmer that swam the Great Lakes, I would have known who she was, but it just said marathon swimmer, so I wasn't sure who.
Despite the size of the turnout, Keith left her audience with inspiring words.
But it doesn't matter what your goal is. If you believe in yourself, refuse to give up, and keep on fighting towards your goal, you can accomplish absolutely anything you want to.
For Studio Q, I'm Zainul Rajan reporting.
The 104th candlelighting ceremony was held at Grant Hall last Sunday. The purpose of the ceremony is to welcome women to the Queen's community. The keynote speaker was Nancy Jackman, co-founder of the Legal Education Action Fund, an organization that provides money for equal rights cases. The ceremony was a good introduction to National Women's History Month in October. ASSES had a carnival Wednesday afternoon in the JDUC to raise student awareness of the charities that Arts and Science supports.
We're just playing having little jelly bean guessing games and balloon shaving and some hair wrapping and just different crafts going on, and we're hoping that people will join and have a little bit of fun.
Students also had the chance to donate money to these different organizations, including the Heart and Stroke Foundation and Kids for Kids.
Looking to get out? Here's what's on where. The Quiet Pub is showing Aladdin Sunday night with 2 performances at 8 and 10. You can also catch all the Blue Jay playoff games. Next Thursday, catch Scent of a Woman and Untamed Heart. And at 9, be sure to take part in their Kramer lookalike contest. At Kingston Premier Pool Pub, The Shot, catch Monday Night Football. When else? Monday night. Tuesday is the Blue Nights. And don't forget about Bedhead Friday, Sega on the big screen, and the ever-popular pool tourneys. Dr. Girdy's features light nights every night until 9:30. Tonight, Thursday, come out to the Rugby Smoker, and Saturday, celebrate the Gael's victory with a post-game bash. Catch some of the Toucan's great live entertainment lineups. Tonight, Thursday, it's Shine. Friday, come see the Smartest Monkeys. Saturday features the ever-popular Mahones. And Monday, it's Fat Spider. Everything starts at 10. And back to campus, Alfie's has an Art 96 safe sex smoker planned for tonight, Thursday. Friday, there's an African Caribbean smoker, and Saturday, Tom 96 takes its place. And that's what's on where for this week.
When you become an alumni, it's a sure bet that you'll have someone hounding you to donate some money to your former alma mater. If you have a lot of cash, you may make a pretty generous donation to, say, a scholarship fund.
Alfred Bader is what might be considered an exceptional grad here at Queen's. Last year, Mr. Bader donated an entire castle to Queen's, and starting next year, Queen's will turn it into an international study center. And if you thought the bus trip to West Campus was bad, our new East Campus is one heck of a commute. It's located in East Sussex, England, about 2 hours by train or bus from central London. And this past summer, Bruce Sellery took a Studio Q camera over there to film the first of our Studio Q documentary series.
With the addition of Herstmonceux Castle, Queen's can now trace its history back to 1441. That's exactly 400 years before the Kingston campus was founded.
You see, this is the dry moat.
Jane Whistler is the project coordinator of the castle.
So it doesn't go right around the castle. It's three-sided moat.
Lately, she's been busy taking a lot of Queen's people around and telling them about the history of the place. The knight in shining armor who captured the castle for Queen's was Alfred Bader, a wealthy alumnus who, with his wife Isabel, has long been a generous supporter of the university.
He said to his wife, would she like a castle? And she said no. And he said, let's go and see it anyway. So they came to see it, and he thought it would be a good place for Queen's to have.
Alfred Bader wants Queen's to become more outward-looking. a goal he hopes the International Study Center will help to attain.
And this will be used both as a sandwich bar at lunchtime.
In addition to proposed programs in executive development and graduate studies, there will be an undergraduate program for about 250 students from all different faculties.
This makes a nice lecture, small lecture room.
But this wasn't exactly the intended use for the property, built by a local nobleman as a cross between a genuine medieval stronghold and an Elizabethan country mansion. While the castle boasts towers, battlements, a dungeon, and even a moat, these are details that are more form than function. For example, the gun ports are constructed so that in order to shoot an enemy, he'd have to be standing directly in front to be hit. A few centuries later, descendants of the original owner found they had no defense against the rising costs of operating a full-scale castle. In 1776, the interior of Herstmonceux was demolished in order to provide the raw materials for a manor house nearby. For the next 135 years, the castle lay in ivy-covered ruins until it was purchased in 1911 by a British colonel who began the painstaking task of reconstruction. A subsequent owner completed the work, and for the first time since 1570, the moat was flooded. The Royal Greenwich Observatory moved here after the Second World War, but when the telescopes were moved south in the 80s, the estate came on the market again. The community was less than pleased with the plans of the new owners, a development company that was planning a hotel and golf complex on the site. Fortunately for Queens, the recession squashed the ambitious plans, though one superstitious observer suggests tongue-in-cheek that the developers were scared away by the ghosts that wander through the castle. The Grey Lady is the spirit of a woman who was starved to death by an evil governess in one of the towers. There was also a ghost in the dark paneled room above the bridge.
And he was supposedly a headless drummer, but it's believed that smugglers used to hide their loot in the castle, which was derelict. And by talking about the ghost, 7-foot-tall headless drummer, they kept other people away from their booze.
About a half-hour walk from the castle grounds is the village of Herstmonceux. This community, like many across England, is being squeezed by the hardships of the recession and a rising cost of living. The locals here are very enthusiastic about the economic benefits of the Queen's plan. As well, the grounds will be open to the public again, and the history and integrity of the castle will be preserved.
It would appear that they have struck the right chord in the village.
Yet it seems certain that the presence of 250 Queen's students will change the atmosphere of this sleepy village. Any concerns that they'll be a little too rowdy for the beautifully...
No, because I enjoy getting rowdy and drunk myself.
Have you ever heard of something called the oil thigh?
No.
No guesses on what that is?
No. No. Is it something to do with drinking too much?
Usually. Yeah, it's actually... While it's clear that the people will be hospitable, the weather is less than certain.
A Canadian, a North American, would think it was damp, wet and damp.
Oh, it is a bit depressing, but in the winter we sit at home by the roaring fire and watch TV and drink and drink.
The on-site office here in England is anticipating a frantic pace to get Herstmonceux up and running for September of 1994.
But it's early days, and you know, it just doesn't happen overnight.
Though there's still a lot of work to be done, the potential for this place is incredible. For Studio Q, I'm Bruce Sellery at the Herstmonceux Castle in Sussex.
My housemate John cleans his ears and throws his Q-tips on the floor outside my door. That bugs me. Wouldn't that bug you?
It would bug me, definitely.
Okay. They smell.
Their breath.
What bugs me about my housemate is that he farts too much. But they don't clean their dishes all the time. So I gotta come home, you know, I wake up in the morning and there's all this scum there and I wanna have my nice porridge or my fruits.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What do they think of your helmet?
They love it. It's actually one of my roommate's helmets.
Well, it's kind of spooky, really, living beside someone who
always has light coming out from under their door, but you don't know if they're alive or dead. You know, I'm expecting to have a smell come out under the door one of these days.
They're always stoned out of their heads.
One of my housemates keeps naked pictures of his parents. That kind of bothers me.
One of my housemates picks his nose while eating his cereal.
What makes me about my housemates is the fact that they all have girlfriends, and I end up sitting here by myself alone playing Nintendo too many times.
So, Graham, what was your phone bill like in first year?
My phone bill was actually pretty bad, but my choice of action, which I'm not recommending to anyone, was not to pay my phone bill. So I have a credit rating with the Bell Phone Police.
So now they have a face to the name. Anyway, one of our reporters has been doing his homework, and he's been looking for ways for you and I to save money before you dial. On the first of our It's Your Money segment, Stephan Teague takes a look at all the different long-distance options available.
With the increasing cost of living in Kingston and recent threats of tuition raises, Queen's students are becoming more conscientious of where their money's going. Whether it be putting on a couple sweaters in winter to reduce heat bills or sharing textbooks with friends, students are keen on seeking new ways to cut back. This week, I hit the streets to find out just how much Queen's students are spending on their monthly phone bills. In an average month, how much do you spend on long-distance phone calls?
Probably about $20.
$40 maybe.
Oh, no. Probably about 70 bucks.
70 bucks?
Yeah, I live far away, Mom and Dad.
Between $50 and $100.
About $150.
$150?
I have a boyfriend who lives in New Brunswick.
Yeah. To help out my fellow starving students, I decided to do a little investigating into how to save on long distance. So I started with a stop at the Bell Canada office. There, they directed me to the tables printed in the front section of your Kingston Regional Telephone Book, which outline the regular long-distance rates most people rely on. Calls made Monday to Friday between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. have regular rates. After 6 p.m. on weekdays, you save 35% on all calls in Ontario and Quebec, and 60% after 11 p.m. Monday through Friday and on weekends. As a result of the ruling by the CRTC in the late 80s, new phone companies such as ACC and Unitel have been able to share the long-distance airways with Bell, making long-distance calling a competitive business. The result? Cheaper rates for the caller. Many of the companies such as ACC offer basic plans which allow up to 35% savings on top of Bell's regular rates, at no extra cost to the caller.
What?
That's right, it doesn't cost you a cent more. How in the world can long-distance companies afford to do this? Well, according to Unitel, Bell overcharges, and therefore any additional savings to the customer still brings in a substantial profit. Meet Elizabeth Payton, a second-year arts and science student, who after a year of relying solely on Bell's regular rates, decided to join the crowd of many seeking other options.
Last year I paid really high phone bills in residence, and I didn't want to again, so this summer when I saw an ad on the TV for Unitel, I just phoned the number and they sent me the information. I didn't want to have to pay service charges and worry about stuff like that, so it's just the most basic plan. It's easy. I thought, I thought I really couldn't be bothered to memorize the 9 numbers, but I mean, you know, for 30 bucks you can.
The process of making a call is very simple. You dial in a 7-digit access code which connects you to the Unitel system. You then enter your personal identification number and make your call as usual. Your Bell telephone bill will now only include charges for local services. All long-distance charges will be mailed to you on a separate bill from Unitel with both company discounts. For further information, you can contact any one of these companies at the following 800 numbers and ask them about their long-distance discount plans. Unitel, ACC, and Bell are not the only companies offering various long-distance packages. There's also Cantel, ICS, and many others. So if you're looking to save, shop around. Investigate thoroughly by asking about plan hours, if there are any distance restrictions, as well as hookup and user fees. If dialing in the number every time you call seems too cumbersome, simply program it into your memory button. Or you can avoid the dialing hassle altogether by trying this advice.
Don't drink and dial?
There you go.
Don't drink and dial.
For Studio Q, I'm Stephan Teague, reporting.
Unless you have ambitions of being a career student, life after Queen's can be a pretty scary thought. How about putting that liberal arts degree to good use by opening up a bar? Jeff Mackavoie has more on what some recent Queen's alumni are doing to improve their careers and your social life.
Have you ever wondered where your Queen's degree has taken you, or where you'll be in a couple of years? Have you ever joked about opening a bar?
Well, a couple of recent Queens grads, and Mike Tate, get ready to go with me, and Charlie Manula did just that. The end result being Dr. Girdy's, which is the focus of this edition of Where Are They Now? It was a dream since grade 11.
Yeah, it was a joke, actually. We didn't think it would actually happen. My eventual partner, Mike Gurgis' father, is the landlord of this particular building, and he and I had joked about this sort of thing with this building as far back as grade 11, and then actually the opportunity arose. The building was vacant, and we both felt capable with the help of our other partner, Charlie Mignol, and so I guess the first step was the financing. We went out and tried to get that, and that's where it all started.
The idea basically originated between Mike Gurgis and Mike Tate, who are my partners, and what basically happened was they had this opportunity to open up a bar, and the three of us got together and decided that we could produce a product, a bar that would be far different from every other bar. It would be a marked departure, you could say, from all the other bars in Kingston, so that's what we set out to do. A marked departure? Well, one could argue. However, Mike and Charlie and Mike all agree that their strong ties with Queens has been an important key to their success.
During the nights, I always walk around and talk to the students about it and see what they like, what they don't like. You know, the major thing were the bathrooms, which is nothing we can do. And I apologize for that, but that's, you know, we always try to talk to them to see, you know, what we can do better.
We were students, we understand the market. We have a sort of an intimate relationship with Queens. We still have a lot of friends who are associated with Queens, and we understand, I guess, the way Queens operates, at least from a student perspective. As grads, they keep close ties with their school. I asked them next what they did while they were students.
I did my BA in political science. I started, or political studies as they call it at Queens.
I guess I just wanted to go to teacher's college eventually, and I figured I had to do something in between. And with an English degree, what else can you do but open up a bar? Oh, that's... All faculty jokes aside, these Girdy grads demonstrate that a Queens education, some good friends, and maybe a dream can go a long way. For Studio Q, I'm Jeff Mackavoie reporting.
Coming up next week...
I have 2 days to get ready for a test, which is going to determine whether I get to do what I've always wanted to do, or say, you want fries with that order.
Hey, Class of 94, is this you? Next week on Studio Q, a look at stress at its best. If you've got LSATs and GREs, like I do in 2 days, coming out of your ears, be sure to tune in to see Studio Q's perspective on the fourth-year phenomena.
In sports, the defending Vanier Cup champions, the Queen's Golden Gaels, had their first home game last weekend against Carlton. Scott Arnold has some highlights of the game, and Paul Bertrand has some of the stories behind it.
On Saturday, the defending Vanier Cup champion Queen's Golden Gaels took to the field against half. Saw the Gaels jump out to a 17-3 lead as both the offense and defense looked to be back in Vanier Cup form.
Touchdowns were scored by Paul Kozan and Brad Elberg, who after being held to 2 yards rushing against Bishops last week, exploded for 75 yards on the ground and 108 in the air. Despite this auspicious start, the Gaels faltered in the second half on both sides of the ball. Undisciplined penalties and defensive mental errors proved costly as the 25-20 loss drops Queens to 1-2 and a 5th place standing in the competitive Ontario-Quebec Conference. That notwithstanding, the Gaels need only win 2 of their 4 remaining regular season games to reach the playoffs. They next take on the 1-2 Concordia Stingers at Richardson Stadium this Saturday. This is Scott Arnold for Studio Q Sports.
Hi, this is Paul Bertrand. A familiar face on the Golden Gaels football team this year is Brad Elberg. Elberg was last year's Vanier Cup MVP and was picked 2nd overall in the CFL draft by the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Despite this, he is back for another year, and I caught up with him this week to ask him why he has returned to Queens.
If I had signed the practice roster agreement with Saskatchewan or with any other team in the CFL, that would have terminated my college eligibility. I was willing to terminate my college eligibility to play pro, but not to practice pro.
Brad's return has prompted many football prognosticators to call for Queens to repeat as Vanier Cup champions. Thus far, the team has not lived up to these expectations, but Elberg says that rumors of the Gaels' demise have been greatly exaggerated.
I think it's been really disappointing. Although last year was fantastic, I don't think anybody's really trying to continue last season or expecting to pick up where we left off. By the same token, a pretty successful football program here, and I don't think anybody expected to start the season 1-2. And we're certainly not going to pack it in just yet. You know, we got 4 games left. Our goal right now is to get in the playoffs, win at least 3 of the last 4 games, get in the playoffs, and then it's a new season and we can start from square one again.
Brad's unexpected homecoming has raised questions concerning his future, both on and off the field.
I have visions of getting into law school long term. That's what I'd like to have that option at the end of this year when I write my LSATs in February. And I'm going to try to play professional one more time next year. I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to give it everything I've got. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, it might be time to hang up the 7 stats.
Despite the Gael's early woes, Elberg promises to make this a good season, if for no other reason than we get to see one of Queen's greatest football players in action again. When asked about his legacy, he was his usual modest self.
If there was one thought that I'd like to have people remember me by, it's that I was a team player first, and I always left everything I had on the field.
For Studio Q Sports, I'm Paul Bertrand.
And now the moment you've been waiting for, the raffle.
So I'm going to shake the box now, and hopefully something's going to fall out.
This rental is courtesy of Granada Television Rental in Kingston on Princess Street.
Okay, just pull something
And the
out of the
name
bottom.
is, remember, call us at 545-6699 if this is you. It's Chris Poon, and you live at 415B Victoria Hall. Call us now at 545-6699, and if you don't call us, you don't get to win. So, 545-6699, just in case you forgot. Okay.
If anyone has any questions about the show, you can call us too, same number, 545-6699, or drop us a line. Our address is Studio Q, John Deutsch University Center, room 22, Kingston, Ontario. And if you're looking for something to do this weekend, the Queen's Film Theatre is showing Boys in the Hood at Ellis Auditorium on Friday night. So that's it for Studio Q this week. Thanks for watching. For Studio Q, I'm Graham Abbey.
And I'm Sharie Ross.
See ya.